Hi there, and welcome to the Daily Gardener, and thank you for listening. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling. It's February 4th. Today we celebrate the Swiss botanist who started a botanical dynasty and the man who named osmosis. We'll learn about the American landscape architect who made England his home and cheered on so many gardeners with his book, Successful Town Gardening. Today's unearthed words feature words about winter, and we grow that garden library with a book about hunting for medicinal plants in the Amazon. I'll talk about a garden item to help you get growing, and then we'll wrap things up with the early spring warm-up of 1931. It was an extraordinary story. But first, let's catch up on a few recent events. Here's today's curated articles. First up is a post that came out on January 13th in Gardens Illustrated about an American garden in Bath. This post is about the first England commission for the U.S. design firm of Uma van Sweden, or OVS. The firm was founded in 1977 by the German plantsman Wolfgang Uma and the American landscape architect James van Sweden. This new installation cost £2 million and was completed at the American Museum and Gardens in Bath. The American Museum and Gardens was formerly known as the American Museum in Britain, but with the completion of the Garden Project, the word gardens is now part of the title. It was fitting that OVS won the bid for this project since James and Wolfgang were so instrumental in helping to create what's now known as the New American Garden. If you're having trouble imagining what the New American Garden looks like, imagine a naturalistic planting designed by Piet Oudolf. He's the Dutch designer that helped develop the movement, and when contrasted to the European style of gardening, the American version is considered to be more bold and more robust. If you'd like to see the beautiful images of the American Museum and Gardens in Bath, just search for the word American in the Facebook group for the show, and this post will pop right up. Next up was a post that was featured in The Guardian. It was written by Jack Wallington, and it was called Gardens, Weeds to Love and Loathe. Jack's the author of one of my favorite new books from 2019. It's called Wild About Weeds. It's a book where Jack shares some of his favorite flowers with us. Many are considered weeds, depending on the location of the garden and the gardener's personal preference. In this post, Jack offers 5 weeds to encourage in the garden. His list includes wild carrot, common knapweed, red valerian, caper spurge, and common fumitory, which is part of the poppy family. Jack also offers 5 weeds to remove. I'll let you check that out for yourself. If you want to read Jack's recommendations, just search for weed in the Facebook group for the show, and then you'll be linked directly to Jack's post. And if you're not in the free Facebook group for the show, and you'd like to check out all of these articles, it's super easy to join the listener community. The next time you're on Facebook, just head on up to the search bar and type in Daily Gardener Community and then request to join. It's just that simple, and I look forward to meeting you there. Here's today's brevities. Today is the birthday of the Swiss botanist Augustin Pyramus de Cundel, who was born on this day in 1778. Kundal named hundreds of plants. His 7-volume monumental work, Pyramus, was an effort to characterize all of the plant families and establish the basis for the science of botany. Now, although he only finished 2 volumes, it was Augustin's descendants who would ultimately finish Pyramus after following in Augustin's footsteps. Augustin's famous son Alphonse was born the year Linnaeus died. In 1855, Alphonse was awarded the Linnaean Gold Medal, and Augustine's grandson Casimir was devoted to the study of the pepper plant family, or the Pyperaceae. The most commonly known species in the family is the Piper nigrum, a flowering vine that gives us peppercorns, which are ground to become black pepper. The biggest consumer of pepper, at almost 20% of the world's total pepper crop, is the United States. And during the Middle Ages, pound for pound, peppercorns were worth more than silver. Augustin de Kundal's great-grandson, Richard Amel, was also a botanist. He died unexpectedly at the age of 51, and after his death, the enormous Kundal family herbarium and library, built over 4 generations, was donated to the city of Geneva, Switzerland. Augustin's greatest living legacy is the Botanical Garden of Geneva. And today is the anniversary of the death of the French botanist and physiologist Henri Dutrochet, who died on this day in 1847. After studying the movement of sap in plants in his home laboratory, Dutrochet discovered and named osmosis. Dutrochet shared his discovery with the Paris Academy of Sciences on October 30th, 1826. Like the cells in our own human bodies, plants don't drink water. They absorb it by osmosis. And Dutrochet also figured out that the green pigment, chlorophyll, in a plant is essential to how plants take up carbon dioxide. Photosynthesis could not happen without chlorophyll, that green pigment, which helps plants get energy from light. And chlorophyll gives plants their color. Have you ever asked yourself why plants are green? Long story short, chlorophyll reflects green light, which makes the plant appear green. Dutrochet was a true pioneer in plant research. He was the first to examine plant respiration, light sensitivity, and geotropism, how the plant responds to gravity. For example, the roots grow down to the ground. The upward growth of plants against gravity is called negative geotropism, and the downward growth of roots is called positive geotropism. The plant part that responds to positive geotropism is at the very end of the root, and it's called the root cap. Today, in 1879, John H. Heinz received a patent for improvement to vegetable sorters, the machines used for sorting produce like fruits and vegetables. I myself have created some excellent vegetable sorters. Their names are Will, Emma, PJ, and John. Sorry, couldn't resist. And today is the birthday of the American landscape architect, consummate plantsman, and writer who made his home in England, Lanning Roper, who was born on this day in 1912. When Vita Sackville West read Lanning's book, Successful Town Gardening, she wrote, The book I have been reading, and which has cheered me up so much as to the answers I can return to in the future, is called Successful Town Gardening by Lanning Roper. Today, Lanning's book is regarded as a classic. Many people use the wintertime as a chance to read or reread Successful Town Gardening. Lanning's grandfather was William Hartley Eveleth, who served as the superintendent of college grounds for Harvard and Radcliffe. Lanning himself went to Harvard and graduated in 1933. After Harvard, Lanning enlisted in the Navy, and he ended up in charge of Division 67, a group he was in charge of on D-Day. After D-Day, Lanning had a 6-week deployment near the Great Rothschild estate. He fell in love with the rhododendrons, the woodland, the gardens, and England. He decided to train as a gardener at the Royal Botanic Gardens at Kew, and then he pursued even more training at Edinburgh. He began working as an editor for the Royal Horticulture Society, and in 1952, Lanning fell in love with a woman named Primrose Harley. She was a muralist and a gardener. Her parents had named her Primrose because she was born on Primrose Day, April 19th, 1908. Primrose worked with Lanning on his many landscape projects. When it came to his gardens, Lanning wanted romance. Known as the father of borders, Lanning liked to see flowers spilling into paths like lavender and roses. He wanted the walls to be covered in vines and more roses. As a designer, Lanning had a knack for creating beautiful hardscapes like paths and walkways. But Lanning also cautioned about planting too much. He said, "Overplanting is a fault common to most gardeners. If you plant 3 shrubs that will grow quickly to fill an area where one alone would have been sufficient, 2 things may happen. If you remove 2, the remaining one is in the wrong place. If you leave all 3, they perhaps will be poor specimens, lacking the characteristic natural grace of the species." Lanning designed nearly 150 gardens during his career. His work has mostly joined the many gardens that can only be seen through pictures or through the words that sang their praises. In 1987, Jane Brown wrote the only volume on Lanning Roper and his gardens, and it is loaded with beautiful images of Lanning's work. You can get a used copy of Lanning Roper and his gardens and support the show using the Amazon link in today's show notes for under $6. But hurry, because I predict that there won't be many left of this gem in the coming decades. At the end of his life, Lanning was picked to completely redesign the garden at a new estate called Highgrove, which had recently been purchased by Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Camilla Parker Bowles had recommended Lanning. He had beautifully designed her parents' garden in the 1960s. Lanning noted that the soil at Highgrove is alkaline, very different to the acid soil of the gardens which Prince Charles is used to, where rhododendron and azalea flourish. Lanning noted that Highgrove is ideal for lilac, roses, and flowering shrubs, which make some of the prettiest gardens, and Prince Charles wanted Highgrove, his first garden, to be fragrant. Sadly, Lanning never had the chance to do the work. His cancer was taking a toll, and he declined the job. It was Lanning Roper who said, "People like myself are lucky to follow a profession which is so absorbing, satisfying, and pleasurable that at times it is not easy to decide where work ends and recreation begins." In Unearthed Words, here are some words about winter. This first one's from John Burroughs, the American naturalist and nature writer. In winter, the stars seem to have rekindled their fires. The moon achieves a fuller triumph, and the heavens wear a look of a more exalted simplicity. Summer is more wooing and seductive, more versatile and human, appeals to the affections and the sentiments, and fosters inquiry and the art impulse. Winter is of a more heroic cast and addresses the intellect. The severe studies and disciplines come easier in winter. And here's a thought from the American travel writer and novelist Paul Theroux. Winter is a season of recovery and preparation. And here's a comment from Thomas Wentworth Higginson, the American Unitarian minister and abolitionist. How many lessons of faith and beauty we should lose if there were no winter in our year. And finally, here's a poem from Sudie Bauer Stewart Hager, a former poet laureate for the state of Idaho. Her poem is called "He Knows No Winter." He knows no winter, he who loves the soil. For stormy days, when he is free from toil, he plans his summer crops, selects his seeds from bright-paged catalogs for garden needs. When looking out upon frost-silvered fields, he visualizes autumn's golden yields. He sees in snow and sleet and icy rain precious moisture for his early grain. He hears spring heralds in the storm's turmoil. He knows no winter, he who loves the soil. It's time to grow that garden library with today's book, Witch Doctor's Apprentice by Nicole Maxwell. The subtitle to this book is Hunting for Medicinal Plants in the Amazon. More than 40 years ago, Nicole Maxwell first visited the Amazon. This memoir is the true story of Nicole Maxwell, who was a free-spirited San Francisco debutante who decided to hunt for medicinal plants in the Amazon. Despite countless setbacks, Nicole never lost sight of her goals. As a fellow of the Royal Geographical Society, Nicole scoured the rainforest for clues to plant medicines which native shamans had passed down for generations. Nicole's book is hailed as one of the major works of popular ethnomedicine. It's part adventure story and part history, an account of the traditions of plant medicine to be found in the tribes of the Amazon. This book features an appendix that catalogs all of the plants that are mentioned in the book with their scientific names. This book came out in 1998, and it's a must-have if you're growing a garden library. You can get a used copy of Witch Doctor's Apprentice by Nicole Maxwell and support the show using the Amazon link in today's show notes for under $6. And here's a great gift for a gardener. It's the LED grow light that's Amazon's choice, and you can get it on Amazon Prime. This light is a full spectrum panel grow light. It can be used for hydroponics and indoor plants in soil. You can use it for small plants, microgreens, and you can also use it as a supplemental side panel during bloom. This LED light has a 25-watt halogen equivalent. It comes with a hanging kit and a user manual. It's got a 12-month warranty and a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can get this LED grow light and support the show using the Amazon link in today's show notes for just $18.44. Finally, here's something sweet to revive the little botanic spark in your heart. You're going to wish we had the power to turn back time when you hear this one. On this day in 1931, newspapers reported a shocking headline out of Brainerd, Minnesota: "Pansies in bloom." It said this: "A bed of pansies came into full bloom today, February 4th, 1931, in a farm garden near Brainerd, the center of a section famous for severe winters." Other February oddities included lilac trees, which were budding. Girls were playing tennis. Boys were shooting marbles. And men were pitching horseshoes. The temperature was climbing toward 60 above. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener. And remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day. The Daily Gardener is produced weekdays in lovely Maple Grove, Minnesota. You can find complete show notes over at thedailygardener.org. And be sure to share the show with your garden friends. You can find The Daily Gardener on all your favorite social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and of course, Facebook. While you're over at Facebook, don't forget to join the Daily Gardener community. Just search for these 3 words, Daily Gardener Community. The group will pop right up and then request to join. Finally, I want to thank my team at Podfly Productions, where my fabulous editor is Eric Begay. Have a great day in the garden, and we'll see you tomorrow.